Welcome to the Maine Money Show, where Wall Street meets Main Street. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Jordan Maine, president of Maine Financial Group, as well as joined by Adam Freund, CRC at Maine Financial Group. To our viewers at home, thank you for being with us today. We're talking all about the modern blueprint for retirement. Retirement has changed throughout the years. It's not like your granddad's any longer. Think about that. Taxes have changed. Pensions have changed. Social Security has changed. So what does a modern blueprint really look like in 2025 and beyond? Today's show is just for you. We're going to talk about a modern blueprint to get through the retirement years. Jordan, how are you today?
Oh, I'm so excited. This is a great show. It's a great topic. Things have changed dramatically, but how are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much. It's always good to be with you. And Adam, how are you?
Me?
You.
I'm great today.
That's awesome. Well, I'm just so happy that we're together. And I love today's show. But before we get serious about this, which we never get serious on, I should probably correct that. Before we get into the details, if you will, let's talk a little bit about maybe something that your grandparents used to do that seems so outdated today. Anything that comes to mind, things your grandparents used to do?
Well, let's see. My grandparents back in the 1800s used to, I'm just joking, they weren't from the 1800s. Come on, folks. You know, I think today, especially like my daughter, to actually see them use the rotary phone, but the kinds that were like from the 1940s, the giant ones you see in the old pictures, like the thing must have weighed heavy.
This is odd. You must have looked at my notes.
You said the same thing?
Mine was, my grandparents had the phone on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
But then the super long cord that would stretch from the kitchen to the living room to the dining area. Yeah. And this huge phone book, because everything was phone books.
Oh, yeah.
So the answer to that would be the phone book, that they would, you know, they didn't have numbers written down. Or remember, you would go through now, I don't even, are there phone books still? Everything's just saved in your cell phone.
Look it up in the white pages.
Yeah, white pages.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, we used to have a number that we call in the morning to get the temperature. Did you have that as well?
Yeah,
where you picked it up and I forget the numbers but then you would see, like, okay, you would hear what the temperature was, so you knew what to wear when going outside. You didn't have like the Weather Channel or anything. No. Does that ring a bell at all?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Not only that, they had to get the right time.
Yes. Yes, to get the right time.
They had phones when you were
It was all done through Morse code.
Well, when you think about it, obviously, we opened the show talking about how the face of retirement has really changed through the years and talking about the modern blueprint. So today's modern blueprint, how is it totally different? What are we looking at today versus generations past?
Well, I think, first of all, you know, when I look at my grandfather who lived into his 90s, and I actually knew my great-grandmother who also lived into her 90s, and the things that have changed over those period of years. But for my grandfather, when he was in his mid-80s, was very old. I mean, he was an old guy.
Right.
You know? My dad, who was in his mid-80s, which we've talked about, the Shermanator, you know, doesn't look as old as he did. And I thought, well, is that just me because I'm getting older? And my dad said, no. When you look at those people, they're living longer. We're going to live, knock on wood, we're going to all live longer.
And I agree with you. They're more active, but your grandparents living that long was not the norm.
No, not at all.
That's true.
But if you think about it, the longevity is the biggest change, right? So the old retirement, you would retire in your 60s and you were passed away in your mid-70s. You know, maybe you had a decade of retirement. I mean, and that's where they built the foundation of Social Security, right? So we talk about this in 1935. Then this was a great business venture, right? To say, we're going to start this fund, if you will, for a lack of a better term. Well, we're going to have 42 people putting into this pool of money for every one pulling out. But wait a minute, we're not going to let that one pull out till they're 62 years old. Well, what was the life expectancy back in 1935?
You're right, 50s,
it was
right?
64.
Was 64. It really?
So they set this financial situation up of, hey, they're going to start at 62, but they're going to be passed away by 64. And is there a death benefit in Social Security? Not really. I mean, the spouse can get a half, or you can get the higher of the two.
But that was the thing back then, is they thought, oh, well, we can not only cover in most cases, the male will cover his wife.
Right.
You know, once they pass away. And now, of course, what's
well,
the
now you
issue
fast forward now, and instead of 42 to 1 putting in, because the baby boomers, the largest generation, are pretty much retired now or close to it.
Yes.
We've got 3 to 1 putting in. But the bigger problem is the life expectancy.
Yeah.
People now there's more people turning 90. I heard a stat, I don't know if it's true, more people turned 90 last year than babies were born because people are having kids later in life and less the number of kids.
It's true.
So the entire foundation of retirement has shifted and changed. And that's why I think the show is very exciting today, because it is not your grandfather's retirement to say, all right, we're going to just work till we're in our 60s and be passed away in our 70s. Now, in the show, I know we've talked about it many times, pickleball.
Yes.
Billion-dollar sport.
Incredible.
And the medical field loves it as well.
Yeah. Right. All the bruised ankles and the wrists and all that other stuff.
You know, and I think the other big change too, I mean, and I think the question you asked is a loaded question. There's a lot of answers to it.
Right.
Absolutely.
How about pensions?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs
Pensions are pretty
now.
much gone, right?
Right.
So now we're going to live 30, 40 years in retirement, and we don't have pensions. We have to become our own pension masters, if you will.
That's true.
And that's really what the 401k started in the late 70s and into the 80s, where you have to now become your own pension expert. So, I think there are several things that go into it.
Yeah, I also think that these people they're retiring earlier, not later. We're finding that a lot of people want to retire earlier, which means, you and I, we used to have to plan for an early death. Right?
Right.
Now we're planning for this longevity that it's just, to plan a 35, 40-year,
right,
and you can only do it right once, right? If you take a job when you're early in your 20s and you're looking at, a 40-year career, let's just say, you can screw up and take another job.
Yeah.
But when you go into retirement, what's the alternative? Working at Walmart.
Right, and on top of that, the longevity, as you're talking about, is, well, wait a minute, the cost. The inflation is built in, right? So
absolutely.
Before you could retire on Social Security with our 2 grandpas and grandfathers and grandmas, and you'd be fine. Social Security today alone would be almost a welfare type of income.
Of course.
I mean, $100,000 today, which seemed like so much money 20 years ago,
it's true,
is a lot of starting salaries out of colleges now for people.
Right.
So when you're looking at 30, 40 years in retirement and building in inflation, well, that extra income you have to take on now causes more problems.
Right.
Most
causes,
definitely.
you're now going up the tax bracket, wrong. It's higher and higher. You're now going to pay more taxes on Social Security. Wait a minute, what about Medicare? This great thing, or this ugly word, IRMA, right?
Yeah.
And so there are so many things that are different from
required minimum distributions.
The required distributions you have to take out a retirement account. And my grandpa Ed retired from Ford's, as we say on this, and Ed's retirement would be completely different than the modern day retirement.
Yeah.
And it's so important to have a proper blueprint. So Jordan, I know there's a very special message you have to the viewers at home. Please talk about what that is before we take our first commercial break.
Yeah, we have a great offer today of 2 free things. The first one here that Vanna White is holding up here is the what we call our RIP report. It's a personal written financial plan for everyone that wants to call in or come see us. And the RIP is an acronym. The R stands for risk. How fast or slow do you want to drive your investment portfolio? The I is what we've just been talking about here, income. Do you have an income plan? Do you have an income guess? The P is a portfolio health. What are you paying in fees? How is your portfolio doing? What sectors are you investing in? And then the last part, taxes, Uncle Sam, how do we get him out of your pocketbook in retirement? We're going to give a customized plan for you based on all your circumstances. And we'll also throw in a copy of our new book here, The Main Street Millionaire. The tagline is How Real People Build Real Wealth and Keep it. It's a great financial planning guide for all of you. Even if you have an advisor out there, it's a great read.
Yep.
Jordan, thank you so much. Adam, thank you so much. Unfortunately, on this side, I don't have you, Adam, so I'm going to have to do one at a time. You're calling in for the consultation to have your very own customized RIP report. Once again, that number is 888-462-7839, 888-462-7839. By booking that complimentary consultation, you'll also receive a copy of this brand new book, The Main Street Millionaire. We're going to take a very short commercial break here on the show, but don't go anywhere. We're talking about how retirement has changed through the years and why you need to have a blueprint in place to make sure that you'll be okay. We'll be right back momentarily.
A recent Transamerica survey found that 37% of workers have tapped into their retirement savings early, and nearly 40% have reduced contributions. While these headlines often focus on those struggling to save, they also serve as a reminder to high earners. Don't let short-term pressure disrupt long-term goals. Even with strong assets, a reactive decision now can cost more later. The key is having a plan that adapts with the times so your retirement stays on track.
Welcome back to the Maine Money Show, where Wall Street meets Main Street. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Jordan Main and Adam Freund of Maine Financial Group. We're talking all about how the retirees are facing a new challenge today, challenges perhaps that weren't in the past, but you need a blueprint to get through those challenges. So thank you for being with us today. We are talking all about the modern retiree and what you could be facing. Jordan and Adam, a very important question. A lot of people might think that they have a modern blueprint for their retirement, but they really don't. Why do people have that misconception?
Well, I think they look at their statement and they think that's their plan, right? They look at a statement from an IRA or a 401k or maybe both, and they think, okay, well, here's my retirement plan. I'm just going to take money out when I need it. Oh my gosh, don't do that.
Yeah.
And we talk about, in our practice, we talk about who to work with. You know, you're climbing a mountain and you're going down a mountain is a metaphor. And in fact, if the control room can put up our little graphic there. We have this little mountain graphic here. And I'm actually going to do, ooh, that's nice.
That's very nice.
I'm going to defer to Jordan on this because he talks a lot about this in his book.
Yeah, we use this in a lot of our planning. So your financial life cycle is like climbing a mountain. On the way up, as you can see, it's your accumulation years. And as you get towards the top of the mountain, you have all these clouds, these buckets of money here, IRAs, 401ks, Social Securities, maybe a pension, maybe a Roth. But retirement is going down the mountain, which is called distribution. And so many advisors focus on accumulation, and they try to use those same tactics going down. Well, the true stat in real mountain climbing is, I think it's like 90% of the deaths happen on the way down because people try to use the same fundamentals as they did going up. And that is, it's so relevant and appropriate in this example, is that on the way down, you have to change your strategies for distribution. So make sure that you're working with a distribution advisor that specializes that, not just an accumulation advisor. That's probably the one comment that we get the most when new clients come on board. They say, no one has ever talked to us about a distribution plan. And the second thing is about a tax plan. And we think those are the two biggest things to help get down the mountain.
And part of the RIP report obviously addresses that whole issue, right? And there's another thing too, we talk about when people rely just on what they have in the market, they are so subject to all kinds of different risks, but most importantly, what they call the sequence of returns risk. And that is, when you take your money out, what is the market doing? Is the market up? Is the market down? Well, if the market's down, you're exacerbating the whole idea that you have a 30% drop like the NASDAQ did in 2022, and you have to take 5% out, that's a 35% drop. And how much does it take to get back to level?
Well, let's use easy math.
Okay.
If you have $100 and you lose 50%, you have $50 left.
Right.
The next year, if you earn that same 100% back, where are you?
Well, you mean another 50% of the...
Or another 50%. You lost 50%, another 50% back.
You're not anywhere near
You're at
100.
$75 if you follow my math, because you have less principal. So it's not just about earning back what you lost. When you lose, you have to earn more back, if that makes sense, right? So the sequence of returns risk, as Adam says, is such a big eroding factor in retirement that people overlook it all the time. And especially it's the accumulation advisors that say, oh, just take out, what's it called, the 4% rule?
Yeah, which is...
Just leave your money in accumulation vehicles, take out 4% whenever you need it, and you'll never run out of money. The modern portfolio theory, they call it. Well, the year 2000 to 2010 ruined that theory. It's really, what is it, the 2% rule
now.
So whenever you take money out of an account that's already down, you're exponentially depleting that account. So it's so important to shift your strategies, shift your fundamentals, put together a solid distribution plan.
And create a plan, create a blueprint. You have to do that. We can't emphasize that enough. So much so that we've got not only the RIP report, we talk about it in this book that Jordan wrote, he devotes several chapters about how important this is, not only with taxes, but creating some sort of income, something that you can rely on.
An income, a written plan, a roadmap, because life comes at us in a lot of different ways, good
Most
ways and
definitely.
bad ways, health problems, marriages, divorces, kids, all kinds of things. What is your roadmap? What is your written plan to get through retirement? Your distribution plan. What accounts are you going to take out of? Are you going to tap into Roth first? Are you going to tap into 401ks, IRAs? When are you going to turn on Social Security? 62, later? There are so many questions that go into putting together a plan.
Right.
The old way of just saying, oh, keep everything in the market, in our portfolio, take out 4%. That is not a plan. No. That's a guess.
That's a wish.
Most definitely. And
wish,
another
yeah.
misconception that people often have is, I'm going to spend less in retirement. How many times do you have people come in that say that?
Well, actually, none. No, because people, when they retire, they want to retire in a manner of which they become accustomed. That's what my dad always used to say to me. I want you just to support me in a manner of which I become accustomed, which of course he was sort of joking with me. But the whole idea of going into retirement and taking a pay cut, oh, I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to do what we talked about doing.
That would not go over well in my household, because when I'm retired, now we have more time to travel and do all the things that we weren't able to do, right? So I don't think I'm going to be able to tell my wife that, okay, now we're going to start eating ramen noodles and we're not going to do things to keep our income low. And that's why the IRAs and the 401ks become such issues. They're tax bombs. As they grow, it's just causing more taxation down the line. So having a tax plan that kind of overlaps your income plan is really the successful way to get down that mountain.
Most definitely. Another misconception, taxes in retirement. That's a big one that you like to talk about. People often think their taxes are going to go down. However, there can be things that happen where they're actually pushed into a different tax bracket. Spend some time talking about that before our next commercial break.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, we talk about taxes all the time on this show because, well, Jordan just loves taxes. Actually, he hates Uncle Sam, but he loves taxes, not having taxes. But the whole
If you're an
idea,
IRS agent, turn the channel. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
please. But the whole idea that that you're trying to keep yourself in this low tax bracket. First of all, if you can tell me what the tax brackets are going to be in 5 years from now or 10 years from now, as we're planning these longevity, right? Where are they going to be in 20 years from now? We know we have this deficit that is continuing to balloon and rise. So someone's going to have to end up paying for that, number one. Number two, even if they stayed the same, and all of a sudden you've got these RMDs that start coming in at age 73, 74, 75, depending on when you were born, well, that can now throw you into a different tax bracket. So there's a lot of things which, of course, then cascade into Social Security.
Snowball rolling down the hill.
Yes.
So again, the mountain metaphor, right? How do you get down that mountain safely? And we're not just talking about not just for income, but for tax purposes. And then, is there something at the end that you want to leave for your kids? Well, for goodness sakes, don't leave them your IRA. My goodness, you're going to have a
tax bomb. Look at there. So, I forgot the lighter.
Yeah,
I know,
well.
I know. I love that. Well, you're exactly right, gentlemen. Obviously, we have to take our next commercial break, but Jordan, once again, a message you have to the viewers at home with Adam's assistance, of course. Yeah,
it hits home really today with the message of the show is put together a written financial plan. We're willing to do that for you, for everyone that calls the number or clicks the QR code. Come in for 2 meetings out of your life. We'll give you a free written financial plan that's specific to you, the RIP report, make sure your risk is in line. Today, what we're talking about, make sure your income is a plan, not a guess. So if you screw up and live too long, it doesn't impact you. Make sure your portfolio is healthy. Stress test that portfolio. And Uncle Sam, again, we don't want you in our retirement. Let's see how we can get him out of the retirement. Also throw in a copy of our free book, or our new book. It's a great financial planning tool to use for everyone.
Jordan, thank you so much. Adam, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, the number to call is 888-462-7839, 888-462-7839. If you're rushing out the door, we've made it even simpler. You can grab your smartphone and just click on the QR code that's at the bottom corner of your screen. That'll take you right to the landing page, of course, of Main Financial Group, and you can schedule your time accordingly. Don't miss the opportunity. The face of retirement has changed, and you need to be ready. It's your turn to take action. We'll be right back momentarily after this very short commercial break.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter, the one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to the Maine Money Show, where Wall Street meets Main Street. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Jordan Main and Adam Freund of Maine Financial Group. And we're talking all about how the face of retirement has changed through the years and how you need to be ready. Jordan and Adam, I want to ask you about income. It's the number one fear that people have, running out of money. Income plays a big role in the blueprint overall.
Yeah. You know, it is, Cynthia, but the type of income is important as well, right? So is it taxable income or tax deferred income or tax-free income? What type of income is it? So I know we talked about taxes in the last segment, and I want to just finish up on that piece. The Roth IRA is an unbelievable tool that is now readily available for everyone. There used to be limitations on income and things, and there are several ways to get dollars into a Roth IRA. But we've developed a free calculator tool, whatever you want to call it, online. It's maintaxbill.com. Anyone can go there, and it can show you how much you're going to owe in taxes on your IRA now if you convert it to a Roth, or if you hold it for life in that pre-tax, as Adam said, tax bomb. Right. All you have to do is put in your age, the amount of money you have in your IRAs and 401ks. You can select whatever tax bracket you want, whatever rate of return you want, and it will show you how much you will pay now in a conversion and never pay tax again, or if you hold on to that thing. And it's pretty shocking when you go through it, but it's a great tool, especially even for people that have advisors out there. Go to maintaxbill.com. They'll email you a PDF form, and it'll give you a whole report. It's a pretty great tool, pretty proud of it.
I love it. I love visiting that site because, like you mentioned, it's super easy, it's user-friendly, and you can play around with different scenarios, and we know that you're going to be surprised when you see the results. I was surprised, so thank you both for bringing that up today. Yeah. Segueing back into income, let's go back. Because so many people, they have this fear of running out of money in their retirement years. How does income overall fit into the new modern blueprint? Adam?
Well, income is the outcome, right? That's what we like to say a lot in our office. But in reality, again, going back to Granddad's retirement, his income was his Social Security and pension. And now that we've stripped away the pension for most people, and you've got a very small Social Security that is not keeping up with inflation, really, you can't live on Social Security alone. You need to essentially create your own pension, your own personal pension. And there are 100 different ways to do it. We have specific plans, but that's the whole idea, is you need to have a plan. You can't just make it a wish. Well, I wish to have income.
A goal without a plan is just a wish. That's right.
That's right. So again, this RIP report, what's in the book, things like this will start talking to you. Even as you're reading it, you'll start to understand why income is so important. You cannot retire without income.
Right, and we call it income allocation. What does that mean, income allocation? That is allocating buckets of money that their only mission is to provide you income. It's not to provide growth in the stock market or tax diversification. It is one mission, so it can be efficient there. And what we have this funny, remember the teeter-totter thing we had?
Absolutely.
We have paychecks and play checks.
Yes.
So paychecks are all the things that are guaranteeing you lifetime income, as Adam had said. Pensions are those, Social Security are those, different types of annuities are those, things that will pay you forever. Those are your paychecks. Those will cover the basics of all your living and lifestyle. Your play checks or the fund money. These are dollars that we're going to go to Europe. We're going to take our granddaughter on a trip, whatever it may be. So if the market is down, we don't have to worry about tapping into those accounts because we have our paychecks on this side. So we use these silly analogies, but I think
Talk about the guy, the guy came in with $2 million and...
we had a guy that came in with $2 million and he said his plan is going to generate him $40,000 a year out of that, which is about 2% if you do the math.
Okay.
And we did some planning and we said, boy, for $1 million, half of that, we could guarantee with some programs $80,000 a year. So twice as much lifetime income on half as much investment. So now he has an additional $1 million to go do other things and create play checks. So the income allocation, the message here is there are solutions, and maybe your current advisor, especially if they're at a big box firm, aren't talking about distribution plans and tax roadmaps. We do that on a daily basis. We take a lot of pride in it.
Yep, you bet.
Because you're both so amazing at it. One thing I want to ask you before we close, and I know we only have a couple minutes left, but you have to also understand risk in retirement. Adam, would you agree with that?
100%. And one of the things that you should know what your own risk level is. What's your uncle point? We always like to talk about somebody's uncle point when you're a kid. Oh, uncle, stop. Well, what's that in terms of what do you feel comfortable with risk? What do you feel comfortable in the market if the market goes up and down? Are you somebody that constantly is watching CNBC and finding out what's happening in the market every day? Or are you more relaxed about, oh no, I just know everything will work out? We do have a risk test that you can take. It's mfgrisktest.com, mfgrisktest.com. That's going to give you a score, but more importantly, it's not what your score is, it's partly, but the other part is how fast is your portfolio driving? And we can show you that. We will run it through the same program, give you a score on that too. So that's part of the risk, assessing what their risk level is.
Well, risk equals growth, right? And you have to take on risk to try to make money, but you can lose money as well. So everyone is different. It doesn't matter how old or young you are, in my opinion. It's what you can tolerate. And once you have that, you can build your income plan around it.
Most definitely. And it all comes down to having that modern blueprint, because as we can see from today's show, what worked in the past is not working today. To our viewers at home, the number for you to call is on your screen. That's 888-462-7839. What you're calling in for today is the complimentary consultation to have your very own RIPT report customized just for you. Now remember, this is not a pamphlet that you'll be handed when you come into the office. This is customized. It's going to be built on your situation only. Again, 888-462-7839, or click the QR code on the bottom corner of your screen. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We'll see you back in a week. Take care now.